welcome to the Northern Monkeys cricket show. The England-Sri Lanka game is the one we'll be covering today, and it has finished. As expected, England won basically quite comfortably. No real dramas on the fifth day for England. Full house again to review the game. Mick, Ben, Wayne.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Yeah,
pretty good.
Right. Unlike Ben,
Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Are you sure?
I just got a bit of water stuck in my throat.
What you need to do is have a bit of water just to wash it down.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying, Ben, is then that you're drowning live on air.
Yeah.
That's a whole different kind of video.
Yeah.
That will attract a different unwanted audience.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Shall we talk about what we're talking about? Cricket and that.
Oh yeah.
Have a go. Should we have a go at that? So England ended up winning by 7 wickets. It didn't take very long at all to get the game finished. But Ben, though we talked about it before we started recording, there were a few moments for Dan Lawrence where we sort of had a few moments of worry, basically.
There were a few calls anyway, weren't there? I think one they were appealing for it that just scraped his glove, which he got a bit lucky for because it was plumb, or it looked like it anyway. And then that one where he got lucky with it, where they didn't review it, and it obviously hit the wickets. So yeah, a bit of a rusty start, but Bairstow finished the job for us, which was always nice.
Yeah, I agree. Wayne didn't look any danger on day 5. England didn't look in any danger at all, really, other than there's an odd moment or two.
Yeah, the result didn't look in danger. We did see yesterday they thought there might be a few wickets in it, and if they used their appeals wisely, they may have been. But Johnny Bairstow batted really well, looked comfortable, looked assured running between the wickets. Dan Lawrence partnered him really well. A couple of off moments, like you said, but overall, decent performance for day 5.
Johnny Bairstow, Mick, we're all proud Yorkshiremen, so we will always support Johnny Bairstow and people like that anyway. Yeah. But he's done very well in Sri Lanka previously. And in these conditions, he just looks comfortable because he's got more time to deal with it. And he clearly reads the game very, very well. And if he has that time to do it, he does, well, you're excellent money in the game in general.
It was, absolutely. And he's one of those players, you just wish he could get a run in the team and be consistent at the same time, because he can hit big scores in all formats of the game as well. Like I said on I think it was day 2, weren't it, when we battered? He just back in the day 1, he did look like he got a big score and he got that look in his eye, and obviously it didn't materialise this time. He seems to prefer playing away from home, doesn't he? Though,
yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Johnny Bairstow. I think he's a very, very good batsman, but I don't think he's fulfilled his potential yet.
No, I think that's
not just because he's a Yorkshireman.
Wayne, I was watching it, and now you're the only person here that's captained the cricket team, so I'm going to come straight to you for this. Sri Lanka, whatever we needed, 30 or 40, whatever it were, to win the game. The Sri Lankans weren't particularly close in fielding. I expected basically everybody in circle, maybe one covering on one boundary. They were spread out. There were so many singles and quite a lot of 2s available because it's such a short target. Explain to me, if you can, why they decided to sort of set up very, very defensively.
It's a strange one, to be honest, because of the situation the game was in. I think the only way of getting a win was to surround the bat. There weren't too many bad deliveries from their bowlers this morning. There weren't too many that were punished. There was a lot of risky play by batsmen and a lot of sweeping and cut shots in there. So I don't really understand it. You can put it down possibly to the fact that their normal captain is injured at the minute. So maybe there's just a small lack of leadership in there, you could say. But other than that, particularly with the not reviewing Dan Lawrence's LBW, maybe it was just they accepted defeat, possibly. Maybe that's too harsh to say, but that's the only thing I can really think of.
We talked about this on day 1 when there seems to be a little bit of naivety from Sri Lanka, certainly in the batting in that first innings. And I don't know whether that's sort of filtered through to the last day as well, where I don't know. It's almost as if they didn't really understand the concept of Test cricket. You know what I mean? That sounds really hypercritical, doesn't it? But it was like, I don't know. Yeah, why not?
I think it's a good point, to be honest, Mick, because you look at the amount of tests that they are actually playing this year. They're only playing 5 tests, as opposed to England, who are playing something like, is it 17, 18, something like that?
Yeah.
So maybe they are just geared up for the white ball format. Test cricket is one of the hardest sports to play in terms of tactically and the mentally and physically draining aspect of it. Maybe they're moving away from that. Maybe they're focusing on white ball cricket. I can't speak on behalf of them. That's probably a question for Mickey Arthur. If you can get an interview with Alexa.
Yeah, we'll try. Of course.
He's squeezing into his shorts, won't he? Or squeezing out of them now. Bearing in mind how sweaty they'll become over the last 5 days.
There you go. If you can't get a call over Zoom, you can do the interview inside Mickey Arthur's shorts.
Yeah. which is not going to be a very pleasant place to be. I wouldn't have thought. No offence, Mickey.
Sorry,
Mick. Okay. Day 4, the close of day 4, Ben, came for England, came at the best time and Sri Lanka at the worst time. Sri Lanka needed that pressure, they needed that momentum. As soon as the day ended and day 5 came, it just sort of killed any momentum of the game changing again, I felt.
Yeah, well, like we said yesterday, I'm not going to go and make a football. We went 17-4-3.
Well done.
We went 17-4-3. Good that they ended there because I think they could have picked up a little bit of momentum. Momentum is, it's in any sport. And that would have been dangerous for us because 17-3 is not, it's not a usual thing, especially for England, who were one of the best teams in the world. So I'm glad they ended. And I think it was the best thing that's happened to us in that test. I think it was better than Sri Lanka's worst innings because, in effect, it won the game, like you just said. So, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly had a big impact.
Yeah, I agree. I think overall it's a good test for England, not because they won, because that's a really obvious thing to say. You win the game, you're obviously very happy. There's a lot of young players that learnt a lot. So we'll briefly talk about the test in general and how good it was for England. Dan Lawrence, Wayne Pye, on debut, 70, and then I ain't going to what he ended up on, but he ended up not out anyway. It's obviously he could have dreamed for a century or two, but it's as good a debut as you could want.
Given the conditions, I think that's probably a decent performance from him. Red Inker for the second innings as well. That pushes his average up to about 80 for the test. Can't really ask for much more on your test debut. He'll almost certainly be in there for the second test. So it's just a matter of whether he can keep consistent. I think it'll depend on whether we bat first or not as to how it goes in the second test. It's still going to be played at goal. Yeah. But I think he can justify staying in that team for the second test. And it's just a matter of what happens in India after that.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Bairstow make a staked a claim for this, because this is all the Sri Lanka this tour is. It's effectively a tester for who can challenge people like Ben Stokes for a normal tester.
Can I just say something? I've been laughing about this all the way through. Sorry. Wait, do you think you look a little bit like Bairstow?
I would like to apologise on behalf of Johnny Bairstow for that horrible accusation.
You do look a bit like him. I've been sitting on that since I watched the highlights.
But for those that are familiar with the Northern Monkeys football show, we do have a Johnny Bairstow lookalike on that show that looks more like him than I do.
I think it's just because you're ginger.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Ben. I appreciate it. I wish I could bat like Johnny Bairstow. I wouldn't average about 6 that way.
Yeah, that's true.
They staked a claim for India, though, Mick. Lawrence and him have staked a claim for the Indian tour.
They certainly staked a place in the squad. I think staked a claim for a place in the squad. Whether they'll be there to actually make a place in the team, it depends it depends whether there's any injuries to the main players like Ben Stokes and the like. Because obviously we're going to have to bring players like him back once, hopefully, as long as he's available for selection when we go over to India. So yeah, I mean he's done really well. And I mean I don't know how old he is. I think we've had this discussion on one of the other shows, haven't we? But you know, it's a difficult place. Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, the difficult places to go and make your debut as a batsman because the conditions are so different to anywhere else in the world, really, aren't they? And particularly Sri Lanka and India. Yeah. So in that context, he's done a really good job. So yeah, he's certainly staked a claim for a place.
Back to you, Wayne. Do you think anybody's sort of threatened themselves with? Because there were some batsmen in particular that didn't have a particular game. I'm thinking particularly of the openers. Is there any worries for either of them for the second test?
At the minute, no. I think England are wanting to focus on Crawley and Sibley at the top of the order, and I think they'll be given a lot more space than anyone in the middle order would be. So I don't think for the second test, maybe going into India, there might be some question marks over there. It's not so much the runs that they're scoring, but the ways that they're getting out that are a little bit worrying from England's point of view. Either going for way too attacking shots, or in the case of Dom Sibley, deciding he just didn't want to play a shot. Well, as far as the second test, no, I don't think there's going to be much change in the batsmen, unless they feel like Johnny Bairstow can do a job as an opener, which I suspect they'll probably stay away from. In the bowlers, you might see a change.
I think so.
I suspect actually that both seam bowlers will be replaced for the second test. I suspect, given that Woakes apparently hasn't contracted COVID, he should come in for Wood, and I would expect Anderson for Broad, just to keep one of those two in the team. But we'll see what happens. Yeah,
and there's always potentially Ben Moeen Ali to come back in. Obviously, he did get COVID, so that's why he didn't play. But I suppose he's not got much time to recover from it and then be ready to play a 5-day test. And it's not like it's the English test where he might bowl 5 overs in first innings and maybe 15 in second. He could potentially bowl 60 overs in a 5-day match, which is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, well, like you just said, coming back from COVID, it's global pandemic. Do you know what I mean? But is Archer available?
He's not in squad now.
No, he's not in squad.
He's rested.
Oh, is he?
I mean, we're not playing any Test cricket for 6 months, but he has been rested.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's not good with staying in bubbles, though, is he?
No point.
No. Also, having looked at it, I don't think they're going to play Moeen Ali in the next test either. Apparently, he's had quite a bad reaction to COVID in terms of his strength and conditioning. I think he's out and he's attended the game a couple of times. Yeah. But I think it's something to do with his strength and conditions took a bit of a hit as a result of it. So I don't think we'll see him in second test. It'd be a perfect conditions for him to play in. I don't think it'll happen.
I like him. I feel like he's really unlucky, Moeen. Whenever he comes in, he plays quite. But with ball, he does quite well. With bat is a bit inconsistent, and this is the time where he'd, it's better for me. He's a better spinner than Leach and Bess.
Yeah,
when he's at his best, and it would have been a really, really good opportunity to get some wickets and potentially some runs. England are now on a really good test run. Sri Lanka are a terrible one. They beat Zimbabwe. The only team they beat is Zimbabwe in about 3 years in tests. They're really struggling. But England are unbeaten in 6 test matches, and we now can't lose the series, so we will go unbeaten in the last 4 test series. It's building up some momentum here, Root. Sri Lanka, all right, not amazing. But Pakistan and West Indies last year, and then I think South Africa earlier last year. There's some good teams in there that we've beat.
Is that Joe's brother Ian? Root.
I didn't say Ian.
You did. I think you did.
I'm assuming. Sorry, I had to pick up on it, didn't I? I mean, it's only fair. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
No worries, anytime, mate. Yeah, well, it's a big year of Test cricket for us, this, isn't it? With the tour of India, and then obviously the summer as well. But the main event coming up next winter when we go down under to see that shower.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I think we've got New Zealand in summer as well. Am I right, Wayne, or is that penciled in? I couldn't find a schedule yet.
I don't actually know who we've got in summer. I know Sri Lanka are coming over for a one-day series. I think we're playing some one-days or T20s against Ireland, but I can't remember who we've actually got. Is Pakistan coming over, or was that last year?
Pakistan came over last year. I thought you'd bought tickets to play India.
That one day. Oh yeah, I have actually. That's a very good point you make. I have got tickets to see India in a Test match, so we are playing India.
We are playing India.
That's a very good point you make there, Lexa. Oh wow.
I've got some research for this cricket show anyway.
I came to Wayne because I knew he had tickets for at least one of the.
What's worrying is that you said you didn't know. You want tickets for that game as well. I've got you a ticket for that game.
So yeah, exactly. So I knew we were playing India. I asked if we were playing New Zealand.
Oh, well, great! Thanks for that, Alexa. Appreciate that one.
It's gone well, this.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Either way, even if we've obviously got India, we're playing India home and away this year, and obviously with Ashes into that's. We're not playing Zimbabwe or Bangladesh. These are properly tough Test series that we want to win. And obviously, it's part of the World Test Championship, which the ETB are taking very, very seriously. Yeah. So it's exciting times, to be honest. I think we've built up a lot after not concentrating on Test cricket for a while. England, it's now basically the focus, and they're trying to build something up. I'm looking forward to it, Ben. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, unbeaten in last 4?
4 series, but last
4
6
series.
Games.
That's a good one to be. It's good to go unbeaten in any sport. It gives team confidence. Like Ian Root doing well in this one. Thank
you.
No, Root doing well in this one. It gives team confidence. We mentioned that on, I think it was day 2 or day 3, one of them. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You play better with confidence. So, I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last series we lost, we've only lost 1 series in 6. The one we lost away to New Zealand, who were world number 1. Yeah. All right then, mate. You just like you were going to burst that last
time. Fine. I've just made the relevant alterations to the scoreline at the bottom. That's all. I'd obviously got it wrong first time around, so my apologies for that.
Brilliant knock by Ian Root.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think we'll finish with that on Joe Root's 228, Mick.
Yeah.
We've talked about it being a massive test.
Ian Root.
Ian Root. I apologise. Ian Root. A superb innings, and he's captured the game very well. The bowling side of things, where we talked about Sri Lanka being very questionable with their fielding in the second innings. Yeah. No real questions from Joe Root on the batting or fielding side of it, really.
No, not at all. Not at all. He's really matured as a player and as a captain. I mean, I know he's 30 now, but so he perhaps should have done. But
maybe he's changed his name.
Yeah, it could be that as well. Yeah, he's done really well. He's doing really, really well, and it's key. You look at him and Owen Morgan in the shorter format captain, and it's brought a new culture to English cricket for me. It seems to have got rid of some of this sort of old-fashioned fuddy-duddy, stuck in the ways approach to cricket, particularly Test cricket, which it clearly wasn't working. Everybody else had altered their style and the way that they approached the game, and we seem to be sort of stuck in our ways a little bit. And Joe Root's helped to bring about that change, I think. As has Ian.
Yeah.
Well, he's just equalled Andrew Strauss and Alistair Cook's record as for Test wins as captain.
Wow.
And a lot of people suggesting that Alistair Cook will probably one of the best captains of the modern era. That's kind of disputed, but that's something that a lot of people say. And yet he's equalled his record with a long, long way to go.
Yeah.
He's only two Test wins behind Michael Vaughan for the all-time record, pretty sure that'll get done by June. By the time June comes around.
Yeah.
Only 30 as well, isn't he?
Well, it feels like he's been captain for about 2 months. It feels really new to Test captaincy, and obviously is not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he just looks like a 12-year-old. He just always looks like a kid.
Yeah.
Even when he grows out his beard, it's not a proper beard, is it? It just doesn't look old enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mature in every sense of that word in cricketing terms. So
yeah, and I think in sort of true Northern Monkey style, I have to say that the two top Test captains are both Yorkshiremen as well, or they will be very soon. Michael Vaughan and Ian Roux.
You're from Manchester, aren't you?
Yeah, he played for Yorkshire.
He's a Yorkshireman, all right. And they were both from the same cricket club in Sheffield.
Yeah,
both from Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club. What more do you need?
Yeah, up the Yorkshire.
Precisely.
So thank you, everybody from Yorkshire who's listened. I suppose thanks everybody else who's not from Yorkshire. We appreciate it.
Do you want to just touch on the Australia-India game, which is reasonably poised for the last day, if India can do a bit of a one-day job on Australia?
Yeah, it's been a really good series. We'll probably do another episode on the series. The issue with it's been on the same time as this test, and it's on at completely the wrong time for us to watch it live. So we're going to rely a lot on highlights and things like that. India need 324 to win on the last day. I've seen reports. I don't have the weather forecast in front of me. I've seen reports that there may be an issue with weather, so it may end up being a drawn series there. But there's been some really standout performances in terms of the bat and ball over there. Marnus Labuschagne, who first came into Ashes, one of his first tests, has scored a ton of runs, annoyingly. And there's a few others that it's been a good series, and there's been some controversy, obviously.
Well, there's fans for Australia are playing, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I won't call it controversy. Just because Steve Smith wants to mess about with someone's mark, it don't mean it's controversy. Are you telling me that there's a history of Australians cheating at cricket? I've never heard of it.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Steve Smith doesn't seem like the sort to cheat, I don't think.
Now does Ian Smith.
So we'll wait till that series is finished, and maybe in a couple of days' time, we will sort of look back at it now the series is finished, and because I think they're 2 and 3 in the world, and England play them ahead. It's big test year for not just England, and all these other countries as well.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of fans from India and Australia as well, so we'll probably do that as well. And then obviously the second test for England starts on Friday. Is that right? Friday
morning. Yeah.
Friday morning. So it's a very quick turnaround, which I think why Wayne's mentioning there'll be some changes in the bowling lineup. But we'll cover that as and when that gets announced. So I hope you've enjoyed this first test that we've covered. Have you three enjoyed it?
I enjoyed the Ian Root comment. Made me laugh a lot.
I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed the comments about American sports from yesterday. That was fun. And I've enjoyed. I didn't enjoy farting down the microphone in episode 2. But other than that, it's gone really well.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we're not the most professional. If you want professional, I suggest Sky Sports. Whatever channel Australia cricket's on, whatever channel India sports on. This is not the most conventional way of talking about cricket, but that's why we're doing it, because it's a bit different. And I hope. I
think unashamedly unprofessional. Really.
I'll be honest, that's the entire Northern Monkeys brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that could be the strap line, to be fair. On screen there where it says the Northern Monkeys Cricket Show, I think underneath it should say unashamedly unprofessional.
I'll get on to the designer and see if he can edit that for us.
Yeah, no problem. Just get him to write it on in crayon.
Yeah. Cool. So we're going to finish it there. We will back later on in the week for the Australia-India review, and then we'll try and do a each day thing again for when Sri Lanka test starts again. England-Sri Lanka on Friday. So thanks all for listening. Thank you, 3, and we shall see you all later on in the week.
Cheers.